Well, hello everybody, and welcome to G Bear's Off-Grid Ways, a homestead in the desert. And today is August 5th, 2020. And as you can see, the winds are blowing again. They've been blowing all last night. They started before bed last night. They were in the 20s, 21, 22 when I went to bed. I heard some really big gusts last night. Oh, even rattled the cabin. They were so strong. And I guess one of them might have even been a dust devil, but I know the winds got up to about 24, 25 miles per hour, and they gusted all through the night non-stop. And I don't mean dropping down to 10 or 8 miles an hour. I mean just constant winds all night long and all day today again. And I was lucky to be able to get laundry done in this wind. I had to use like 15 clothespins on each item I put on the clothesline just to hold them there. And I noticed that there's a clothespin right there on the ground that blew off. So yeah, it's been blowing like crazy. But you see I have the tote-cuzzi cover off because I was in there and doing a nice little soak a little while ago because I just felt like I needed to sit down and cool myself down a little bit because I was aggravated. Look what it did to my brand new flag I just put up on the 4th of July. It shredded it. And when I went in last night, I looked up at that flag and I said, it looks beautiful up there. And then when I got up this morning, I looked at it and I went, what the heck? You'd think that thing been to a hurricane. So I did hear some big bangs and crashes last night, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. Well, I had 3 of my 20-gallon barrels down there hidden behind those totes, and they were down by the gate. I noticed I got a cardboard box all the way down across the road down there, so I'm going to have to go get that, but it's anchored in between some bushes. I checked it out with the binoculars, and it's not going to go anywhere from where it's at, so no rush getting down there. So the next time I drive down the driveway, I'll go over and pick that up. But yeah, the greenhouse held up just fine. No problems there, even with all the wind blowing. Even the aviary wire roll actually started unraveling itself in the wind. It was so strong. But the greenhouse held up. And that's not without any extra. I didn't put any of those extra screws that everybody's talking about online. I didn't put any extra screws in those things at all. What I might do though is see if I can order a couple more bags of the clips that hold those panels in place and just add a few more clips in there. It seems to be doing just fine, and with all the damage that these winds did last night, I'm amazed that that thing is still in perfect condition. All right. So what was the big crash I heard out my bedroom window last night? Well, we're going to find that out here in a second. This is what it was. Broken solar panels. This thing was anchored in the ground with 3-foot stakes with only 1 foot sticking out of the ground and 2-inch screws going through a hole into the 2x4s to hold them in place. And apparently the winds gusted so hard last night, it bent those screws, pulled them out of the wood, and flipped this over onto its face and smashed 3 of the panel glasses. Now the blue lights are still on these, but the ones with the broken glass are not as bright as the one without the broken glass. So I may have to see if I can salvage those. I'll see if I can take them apart and take the glass out of the broken glass out without damaging the solar part underneath. And then I'll just pick up some glass from a local glass company. I'll have them cut the size and I'll replace them. We'll see if that's going to be necessary. If not, then wow, I got three panels that can go to trash. But I did use one panel on top of my Garden of Eating, and that runs the pump inside of there for the sprinklers. So I may just have to add this one good panel back to the 3 that are up on that roof up there, and turn that into a 100-watt setup there instead of a 75-watt. I did just clean all these panels, but they're all dirty again already just from the winds that have been blowing here. Just ridiculous. And I see everything kind of like moving around and tweaking and moving. I got the extra tie-down cables on these panel racks, and I am going to be building a panel rack like that to handle 16 of these Harbor Freight panels. The 8 that are up there and the 8 that were down here. And I may not have the other 8 unless I buy another set. And then I want to take those off of the Harbor Freight individual controllers and put those onto a full MPPT controller and let those run their power through the MPPT controller rather than having them on separate controllers. I am going to be getting the Midnight Classic controller, and I've had people ask me about getting controllers to run turbines through, and you can see my turbine up there. On video it doesn't look like it's running so fast because that's only 60 frames per second, but where I'm standing I can't even see the blades, it's turning so quickly. And the Midnight Classic controller actually has settings on it to where you can take one of these PMAs, run it through a rectifier, and then hook up the positive negative lines that come out of the rectifier directly into where normally the solar panels would go on that controller, and then you would go through the setup on it and change it from solar panels to wind. Those Midnight Classics have the option of doing being set up to run wind, hydro, solar panels, and a whole bunch of stuff. So they're really nice to have, but they're not cheap either. The one people that are asking me for controllers for wind turbines, I tell them to just use a bridge rectifier and go straight to the batteries, then use a dump load controller. And some people have bad things to say about dump load controllers. Mine's been running now for probably, well, I think the first time I connected it would have been 2017. So it's been running for 3 years now and doing its job. Let's see what we're doing for power over here right now. Yeah, step inside. Okay, so here we are. This is the wattage it's putting out right now. And look at that. It just jumped from 100 to over 200 on a single gust. Now see, over here it's saying 12.7 volts. That's what's in the batteries right now. That's not what it's charging. So you got to go here for the VM volts max right there, 965. Well, 965 volts max is not charging those batteries. So, you know, it's just like I said, wind power is not the most efficient way to go. So, whatever, I'm down to 12.6 with these winds gusting all day long. So the solar panels were the only things bringing power to my batteries. So unless I switch things over, I don't know. I've heard that the 48 volt turbines do a better job, and I'd have to change my batteries over and change my transformer over. So it's a pretty expensive deal to change. Now this is a 1224 on the unit. So I could go up to 24 volts, which is even better than a 12. And I may do that down the line. But for right now, if it's not broke, don't fix it. You're wasting your time. All right. So I just wanted to cover that stuff, get this all filled in before. Things are a mess. Things are all over the place. I did get a question about mulberry trees. They're doing fine. Let me walk over there and then we'll do a stop by the chickens because I got um, questions about how the hens are doing. Look at this. The rocks are even blowing in the sand. Yeah, there's been some major gusts of wind blowing through here. It feels like it's lighting up a little bit. It's not as heavy as it has been. All right, so here's the last mulberry tree I just watered a little while ago. And you can see it's got fresh growth on the branches and everything. So they're doing okay. The ones down there, I don't know, these critters out here have figured out that if they get within view of me, they get led to the head. So they've been going down here and tearing these two trees up down here, but leaving the leaves and stuff on these up where I can see them out of my window. And I guess they don't like lead to the head. Must give them a headache or something. I know it blows their mind. Oh, geez. All right, so here's the kids. And I found out that that water, I thought they were drinking 5 gallons out of that a day, and saying to myself, my God, that's a lot of water to go through. Well, they got their little wading pools here they like to go in. Sorry about the focus. I got to figure out why this thing is doing that. It focuses on the wire rather than what I'm talking about. So anyway, I cleaned out the pens and got them all nice and spotted out. They got their food down here, so they got plenty of food to eat. And they got water there on a hanging bucket. They got water there on the press bucket. And I'm going to be filling another one that goes inside that coop. And they got water inside the coop. So they got plenty of water. But I'm really aggravated that that one over there was my favorite waterer. Because being up high like that, the critters can't get to it. And the ants can't get in it and things like that. But it's leaking and it's just trash. There's nothing you can do with them once they leak. So I'll have to get rid of that one and buy another one. All these girls like that one too. As soon as I bring it in, they would all circle around it and start drinking out of it. But as you can see, they're all doing well. I think they're all staying in one coop now. They don't hardly ever come down to this coop anymore. But I'm going to leave that coop open tonight and come down and check them out and see if they're in there or not. And if they are, maybe what they'll do is I'll close that coop up so that forces them all to go into one coop. But it looks like they're all getting along now, enjoying each other's company, and they all seem to go up and down the rack to the coop. Even Blackie over here, and they like that water unit. I have to train them. I got to get a laser pointer and train them to press on the little yellow thing to keep filling it back up, because I have to go in there and press it with my finger and fill it up, and then they drink the water and it just stays like that empty. But I just refilled these water units here too, so they got plenty of water. All right, I'm going to quit rambling on here and head back up, pour myself a glass of sangria wine on the rocks, and go sit out in the tote-cuzzi for a little while. And then just as the sun sets, I'll go into the garden and water everything. And it looks like the weatherman was right as far as cooling down. It didn't go over 100 today. It stopped at like 93 degrees, which is about what, 34.5 degrees Celsius, somewhere in there. Yeah, it was not too hot today, but this wind is aggravating. You can't do anything when the wind is blowing like this. You pick something up and the wind tries to rip it out of your hands. So anyway, I think I'm going to be transferring the water from these down to that tote, because that one is empty over there. That one waters the gutter garden that I had originally with the buckets on that right hand side, and it's been evaporating a lot of water with these winds and the heat and all of that. So, well, I'll transfer these two down there. It is about 100 gallons there. That should go down there and give me almost half a tote. And that'll get me going for a while. And that blue barrel down there is still full and so forth and so on. What the heck? You know, I get all the water filled up. I get everything working just fine. And then they throw me another curve with the winds and the heat waves and that stuff, and just use up all my water. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining me. I'll quit rambling, because I have been rambling. This is G Bear signing off.